Ambassador Zekthor had always prided himself on his understanding of lesser species. In his 3 centuries of diplomatic service to the Galactic Concordat, he had negotiated with the militant Kraxi, reasoned with the hive-minded Queller, and even survived tea with the notoriously poisonous Venathi. But nothing in his extensive experience had prepared him for humanity. The humans had arrived at the Galactic Council chambers on Station Zenith 7 with their characteristic eagerness. Their ambassador, a woman named Chen, wearing that peculiar expression they called a smile. For 5 standard years, humanity had played by every rule, filed every form in triplicate, and endured every bureaucratic humiliation the elder species had devised to keep them in their place. They're so refreshingly compliant, Zekthor had told his colleagues over crystallized ammonia drinks. Perfectly harmless. He would later recognize those words as the universe's way of mocking him. The incident began innocuously enough. The council had gathered to discuss the human petition for full membership, a petition humanity had submitted annually for 5 years, and which the council had rejected annually for 5 years. The elder species enjoyed these rituals. It reminded the newcomers of their place in the cosmic hierarchy. Ambassador Chen stood before the assembly, her posture respectful, her tone measured. She presented humanity's achievements, their terraforming innovations, their cultural contributions, their trade agreements. All very proper, all very civilized. Then High Chancellor Vronak made his mistake. Perhaps, the Chancellor said, his translator rendering his contempt perfectly. If humanity wishes to be taken seriously, they should first prove they're more than hairless apes who stumbled into space travel. Your species lacks the necessary sophistication. The chamber erupted in the alien equivalent of laughter, clicking mandibles, pulsing chromatophores, subsonic rumbles. Standard procedure. The humans were supposed to bow their heads, thank the council for their wisdom, and retreat for another year. Ambassador Chen didn't bow her head. She stood perfectly still for a long moment. Then something changed in her eyes. Something that made Zekthor's tertiary heart skip a beat. Her smile didn't waver, but it transformed into something else entirely. Something predatory. I see, Chen said quietly. You know what? We're done being nice, she tapped her communication device. Chen to Earth Fleet Command. Execute Protocol Mongoose. Authorization Victoria 7-9er. Confirmed, Ambassador, came the crisp reply. Mongooses go. Zekthor felt his blood chill. What is Mongoose? Chen's smile widened. You're about to find out why humans don't have a warrior caste, Chancellor. We don't need one. We're all the warrior caste. Within minutes, the station's sensors erupted with warnings. Human vessels, hundreds of them, emerged from quantum slipspace at every major Concordat facility simultaneously. But these weren't the clunky merchant ships the Council had grown accustomed to seeing. These were warships, sleek and bristling with weapons that made the station's aged defense platforms look like children's toys. Impossible, High Chancellor Vronak stammered. Your species was classified as militarily insignificant. You have no fleet. We have 17 fleets, actually, Chen corrected pleasantly. We just didn't mention them. You never asked the right questions. Zekthor pulled up the tactical display with trembling appendages. The humans hadn't just built a fleet. They had built an armada that rivaled the combined might of the 3 largest Concordat militaries. How had they hidden this? For 5 years, Chen continued, her voice carrying throughout the chamber. We played your game. We smiled at your insults. We endured your tests. We let you think we were harmless because it was easier than the alternative. But here's something you should have learned about humans before you pushed us too far. We hold grudges. We never forget, and we have extremely creative imaginations when it comes to payback. On the view screens, human ships began demonstrating their capabilities. They didn't fire, not yet. They didn't need to. They performed maneuvers that should have been physically impossible, achieving acceleration curves that would have liquefied any known species. They executed quantum jumps with pinpoint accuracy, appearing and disappearing around Concordat vessels like ghosts playing tag. Those are Death World species acceleration rates, a Kraxi warrior diplomat breathed. No one should be able to withstand those forces. Death World? Chen laughed, a sound without humor. You keep using that word like it's an insult. Yes, Earth is a Class 12 hazard world. Yes, we evolved, dodging apex predators, natural disasters, and each other. You want to know what that made us? Survivors. We learned to adapt, to innovate, to turn every disadvantage into a weapon. She leaned forward, her hands planted on the podium. You thought compliance meant weakness. It doesn't. You thought patience meant acceptance. It doesn't. You mistook our choice to be diplomatic for an inability to be anything else. That was your first mistake. Your second was assuming we'd keep choosing diplomacy forever. Zekthor watched as the human fleet maintained their positions, a clear demonstration of force without actual violence. It was, he realized with growing horror, a perfectly calibrated threat. The humans could have destroyed the station. They could have decimated the Concordat's military infrastructure. But they didn't. They were making a point. What do you want? He found himself asking, his voice barely above a whisper. Ambassador Chen straightened, her expression softening slightly. What we've always wanted, Ambassador Zekthor. Respect, a seat at the table. To be treated as equals, not pets or curiosities. We're not asking for dominance. We're not asking for special treatment. We're asking for what we've earned. She gestured to the display showing the human fleet. This isn't an invasion. It's a demonstration. Consider it our way of updating your files on human capabilities. We're still the same species we were an hour ago. Cooperative, innovative, hopeful. But now you know what we're capable of when cooperation isn't reciprocated. High Chancellor Vronek had turned an interesting shade of purple. This is unprecedented. No, Chen corrected. This is humanity. We tried unprecedented kindness for 5 years. That didn't work. So now you get unprecedented honesty. She paused. Here's how this works going forward. We will be granted full council membership. Our ships will have unrestricted access to Concordat space. The trade restrictions and tariffs designed to cripple our economy will be eliminated. And most importantly, you will never ever call us hairless apes again. And if we refuse? Another council member ventured. Chen's smile returned, genuine this time, but no less terrifying. Then we'll stop playing nice permanently. And trust me, Chancellor, you really don't want to see what humans are like when we're not trying to make friends. The vote was unanimous. Humanity was granted full membership within the hour. Later, as Ambassador Chen prepared to depart, Zekthor approached her. That fleet, he said. How long have you been building it? Since before we made first contact, she admitted. We learned our history well, Ambassador. We know what happens to the unprepared in a universe full of strangers. So we hoped for the best but prepared for the worst. We wanted to believe in a peaceful galaxy. We still do, but we won't be anyone's victim while we're hoping. Zekthor nodded slowly, a gesture he'd learned from humans. I underestimated your species. Everyone does, Chen said with a genuine smile this time. That's kind of our thing. We look soft, we act friendly, we crack jokes at ourselves. But underneath? She tapped her chest. We're the species that looked at a world trying to kill us and decided to become its apex predator. We're the species that split the atom and touched the stars. Never mistake kindness for weakness, Ambassador. That's the lesson we just taught the Concordat. As her ship departed, Zekthor returned to his quarters and began updating humanity's file in the Concordat database. Under the section marked Threat Assessment, he deleted the word minimal. In its place, he typed, catastrophic if provoked. Recommend maintaining positive relations at all costs. Then, after a moment's consideration, he added, Note, humans are much nicer when they're getting what they want. Suggest we give it to them. It was, he reflected, the most diplomatically he could phrase, never make them stop playing nice again.